You ever witness a moment so surreal it feels like the world just pauses? Like the universe itself holds its breath, waiting to see what happens next. That's how it started one ordinary morning at Fort Wooka, the sun just bleeding over the Arizona horizon, soldiers already pounding the dirt, choppers slicing up the sky, everything running on military clockwork. Nobody pays attention to the janitors, right? The ones in blue uniforms pushing carts, invisible as ghosts. That's the way it's always been. Until the day Raymond Cartera, 72-year-old with gray hair and a gentle gait, stepped out of the shadows and stopped an international military disaster cold with just a handful of words. I swear, you can't make this stuff up. Let me back up a sec. The simulation that morning was a joint operation. Americans, Germans, Italians, French, Polish all crowded into a control room, stress running high. They're running a hostage rescue scenario, multilingual, real-time, edge-of-your-seat stuff, and suddenly the whole thing grinds to a halt. Some computer translated a crucial Arabic command as advance when it should have been hold position, rookie mistake, but deadly in real combat. Everyone's shouting, radios crackle, and out of nowhere, Raymond's voice, calm but firm, floats across the chaos. Hold position, not advance. Every head in the room snaps toward him, this old janitor, standing with a mop in hand like he owns the place. Dead silence. You could have heard a pin drop. General Grant, tough as they come, storms over, and you could just feel the suspicion. How does this guy know that? Raymond sets his mop aside, takes a breath you know comes from somewhere deep, and says, I did this for 30 years before I started mopping these hallways. And just like that, the Invisible Man's story bursts into the open. He was nobody to these folks, just another retiree trying to make ends meet, polite, punctual, never caused a fuss. But behind those tired eyes, decades in military intelligence missions from East Germany to Afghanistan, NATO briefings, secret talks in languages half the brass can't even pronounce. You know what I mean? In a flash, all those years of being overlooked, of swallowing his pride just to get by, got lit up for the world to see. So Grant does the unthinkable, asks Raymond to step in and fix the simulation. And this man, with hands that know their way around both a mop and a military protocol manual, takes the reins. Within 20 minutes, communications smooth as silk. Soldiers from 5 countries operating like a single unit. By noon, word's gotten out of janitors save the day. Now, Raymond wasn't born with a silver spoon Texas farm boy, Army at 18, Cold War heating up, gifted with languages but grounded in grit. Met his wife Martha on base. She was a nurse. They had 2 kids, bounced all over the world. Climbed the ranks, briefed presidents, ran operations most of us couldn't even dream about. But then retirement hit like a brick wall, and after Martha passed, the bills piled up, the job offers didn't come. Too old, outdated, markets too tight, the kind of stuff that makes you wonder if all your years meant nothing. Ended up cleaning floors at the same base where he used to strategize with generals. That's where most stories end, right? You fade out, become invisible, maybe start to believe it's true. But here's the twist: competence doesn't fade. It waits for a moment to prove itself. After that day, Grant pulls Raymond into his office, tells him to forget about janitor duty, offers him a contract as a language consultant, $500 a day, more than 6 times what he made mopping floors. Your knowledge doesn't expire, Sergeant, Grant says. Raymond laughs, a little embarrassed but proud. That was a long time ago. Grant shakes his head, not to us. So the next exercise, Raymond stands shoulder to shoulder with international officers, catching translation errors. The software missed 17 of them in just 2 hours. By lunchtime, he's not just a translator, but the bridge the guy commanders seek out for advice on nuances only decades of fieldwork can teach. At the end of the day, Grant corners him. You did the work of an entire team. He offers Raymond a permanent post, senior strategic consultant, new office, new title. From pushing a mop to running the base's communications, yeah, that happened. But of course, not everyone's thrilled. Younger officers grumble, whisper about PR stunts and fairness. What's your degree? Morrison, a West Point guy, demands the first meeting. Raymond just smiles, the University of Real Life, Lieutenant. 30 years on the ground. Morrison pushes. You have a current translation certificate? No, sir. Grant backs him. Upfield experience beats paper credentials any day. Raymond doesn't hold a grudge, either. Later, he tells Morrison, you were right to ask. That's responsible. But there's more to this job than what you learn in a classroom. Then comes the real test of diplomatic crisis in Poland. Americans and Germans nearly come to blows over a translation mix-up. Grant sends Raymond no backup, just trust. He mediates, uncovers the misunderstanding of difference in how standard safety protocol is defined, smooths it over with empathy and a new set of agreed-upon terms. Crisis averted. For the first time, even the skeptics are silent. From then on, respect's not given. It's earned in. Everyone knows who to call when things go sideways. The story could have ended there and neat comeback, right? But the impact just kept spreading. One day, Raymond finds a handwritten letter on his desk from a retired sergeant in Phoenix. I heard your story made me proud of my own service again. Gave me the guts to apply for a job I thought was out of reach. Raymond writes back, realizes his journey isn't just about him, it's about every veteran who ever felt invisible. Soon, the brass calls him into a meeting. We want your program at every base in the country. Identify overlooked talent, reintegrate veterans, make it national policy. Raymond agrees. On one condition, hires his own team, vets like Joe Martinez from Phoenix, who becomes his first recruit. Within a year, hundreds of veterans find new roles, millions saved for the government. But for Raymond, the real victory is hearing, you reminded me who I am. 5 years later, he retires for good this time, on his own terms. The courtyard is full. Generals and secretaries shake his hand, his old janitor uniform hanging in the office as a reminder that dignity never comes from a title, but from character and persistence. Real experience never expires, he says at the ceremony, and real veterans don't need to prove their worth. Just a chance to show it. Walking out, Raymond passes by the janitor's closet, hands the uniform to Mary, the new hire. May I leave this here? She beams. It would be an honor, Mr. Raymond. On the drive home, he smiles, knowing his legacy isn't medals or money but the doors opened for others, the pride restored to those who thought their story was over. Now, tell me, how do you think? Does experience matter more than credentials? Is there a right age to stop contributing, or does wisdom only get sharper with time? If you have thoughts, drop a comment below, share your own story, and let's talk about what true value looks Lickian and off the battlefield.